Well, hello, friends. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thanksgiving this November 2022. I had to stop and think because we're almost at 2023. Wow. These days fly by, don't they? Anyway, happy Thanksgiving. I'm so glad we have this day set aside that Abraham Lincoln actually put the stamp on, made it happen after several attempts by other presidents. George Washington kind of started that, but it was denied by other presidents, and they kind of brought it up every year and talked about it. It just never happened until Abraham Lincoln made that happen. So we're glad. Thank you, Mr. Lincoln. What I wanted to do was just really short little blog here on this, a video blog, to mention the blessings for America. We're giving thanks today. Thank you to our God for the blessings He's given to America. Why? I just want to do a quick little if and why scenario. And I'm going to start off here in Jeremiah 12:14. You'll hear me as I'm reading this wherever Lord all caps is at. I have done intensive studies, as some of you know, on this for over 6 years. I did my own spreadsheet, put different Hebrew names in, looking for all these clues and things. So we've got a bunch of statistics behind us, including even the 1611 King James Bible. You go up into the beautiful artwork, by the way. If you've never done that, you could go online and look at that cover page on the inside. There's a bunch of pages, but at the very top, a beautiful scene with rays coming out, clouds around it, and Yod He Vav He with the three vowel pointers pronouncing the pronunciation of Yehovah. So as many of you know, when I'm reading that, we're talking about God's name. I will include that back in. And so I'm starting in Jeremiah 12:14 through 17 here. But listen, notice this. Don't get hung up on names. God hears us despite, he says in Psalm, even if we call him by a foreign God's name. So he looks at our heart, okay? Nevertheless, let's get on with this to give our thanks. Here is what Yehovah says in Jeremiah 12:14. As for all my evil neighbors who encroach on the heritage I gave to my people, Israel, and their possession, I will uproot them from their own land, and I will uproot Judah from among them. Then, after I have uprooted them, he'll turn his eyes back to them, right? I will take pity on them again and bring them back, each one to his inheritance. This is all of Israel he's talking about, including Judah, the 2 tribes versus the 10 tribes, right? Each one to his own land. Then, if they will carefully learn my people's ways. Now notice this. Each one to his own land. If they will learn my people's ways, who are his people? He's talking about Israel here, right? So he's talking to someone else here, aside from that. Swearing or making vows is what that means. It doesn't mean using it as a curse word, but making vows by my name as Yehovah lives. That was the traditional way to vow back then. That's what the third commandment is all about. To take vows honestly and keep them when you're invoking Yehovah's name. Anyway, just as they taught my people to swear or make vows by Baal, they will be built up among my people. They will be built up among my people. Think about what it's saying here. But if they refuse to listen, then I will uproot that nation. See, we're talking about not just Israel here. We're talking about other nations as well. If they will follow the ways of his people, right? But in verse 17, he says, but if they refuse to listen, then I will uproot that nation, uproot and destroy it, says Yehovah. So America has been So greatly blessed. Blessed above, well above other nations. Look at where we've come from. This little place over here becoming such a great global power and everything. Even though American founders didn't make this vow to Jehovah by his sacred name, remember, God looks at the heart. He knows what's on people's heart. He has yet blessed America beyond any nation on the face of the earth. So the question I'm saying is, why? Let's just take a quick moment to reflect on that. Why? Well, let's look at some reasons why. Real quickly, before I do that, I was just kind of thinking about this morning, so I went and pulled out. I've been, collecting foreign currencies here for many, many years. So I've got, obviously some pesos over here. We got a bunch of pesos. Doing some traveling to Mexico. We've gotten, to tell you the truth, I think this is Saudi Arabia money, but to tell you, no, I'm sorry. This is an Asian. Whoa, Hayo? I don't know what that says. But I've got a bunch of these things. And as I was going through all these different currencies, here's that Saudi Arabian money. Well, here we go. There we go. Some Saudi Arabia money. As I was going through this, Australian money. Sorry, my camera's off to the side there. Including old Canadian money. There you go. And I'm looking at it all and I'm saying, okay, I'm looking through all of it. Most of it will say something like this. Sorry, it's really hard to see this on this old bill from Canada. But it'll say Bank of Canada will pay to the bearer on this on demand. Okay. And so many of them will say something very, very similar to that. Even on, I'm looking at an old $2 bill. This is from, what is this? 1953, minted. Same thing. This note is legal tender at its face value. Sorry, it's kind of hard to read this old small writing. For all debts, public and private. Okay, so that's an old one. Now there's something missing from this one. We'll show you Jefferson's picture there and some of the other small writing around there, and you flip it over to the back and you're seeing a lot of things. But there's something missing from this one, that the newer one here I've got from 1976, 2003 even. This one pretty much says the same thing on the front. However, when you flip it around to the back, they added something right down here. And I know that can be kind of hard to see. See if I can get it up. There we go. Look what that says. In God we trust. Okay, none of the other currencies say that. It wasn't even on some of the older $2 bills. I've got some British pounds. What do we got here? 5 British pounds. And then I've even got I like this one a lot. It's an older one. I don't know if I can even find a name on it. It's so hard to see all this stuff. But an older British pound, pretty much saying the same thing, pay to the bearer, the £1 or whatever it is on there. Okay. So then I noticed it on one of the $2 bills that I had saved. So I've got this little baby here, which, let me open that up. This is it's actually only from 2003. And I don't even have to search very far on this. I will pull it out of here so you can see it a little easier. Get it out of its fancy covering there. And on this one, see if we can get it in focus. Look at that. Shiny, beautiful, never been touched without proper care by human hands. But it says something. It says that same thing. In God we trust. In God we trust. A 1 ounce silver piece there. So is that just more of a modern thing? You would think it's kind of going the other way, and we got to watch this, people. We want to keep that on there. You know why? That's a vow. Now look at these two here. I've still got them in plastic, so You got to excuse me here. We've got a 1923, it's fairly worn, 1923 silver dollar. And that one right there on the front, if we can get it in focus, right on the front. Sorry, got to work backwards here for the camera. Maybe you can see it. There we go. In God we trust. See that just under her chin there. In God we trust. That's on the 1923. How about this one? I got an older one. This one is very close to, this one's actually a little older than my grandmother was. I think she was born in 1889. This one is from 1884. Another silver dollar. And it doesn't say in God we trust on the front. Oh, but voila. If we flip it over here, we've got the American Eagle back there. And by the American Eagle, see if we can get that just, there we go. See it at the very, very top there. In God we trust, 1884. So that is a vow. That's putting a promise. That's a motto, shall we say. All right. But it's also a vow. And it's saying, listen, we don't trust in these currencies. We don't trust in these things. We don't trust in them. We put our trust in God. That's what it says on our currency. So one of the answers to this why are we so blessed question, in my point of view, is the answer written on our currency. In God we trust. This is a vow that's swearing to God of the God of Israel and the God of all nations that we put our trust in Him. As long as we honor this God and put our trust in Him, we will be blessed. But as if or as we pull further and further away from that God that we don't put our trust in, these blessings will surely fade away, as Jeremiah 12 says. One last thing before I go, real quickly here. I want to notice a promise to the foreigners, because that's what we're talking. We are technically the foreigners of Israel, although I'm sure many that will be watching may have Israel flowing through their blood. Yet, here's a promise to us foreigners of Israel. Isaiah 56, 6 and 7. And then I'll end and say thank you and happy Thanksgiving to all. But in verse 6 of Isaiah 56, it says, "And the foreigners who join themselves to Jehovah, to serve Him, to love the name of Jehovah, and to be His workers, all who keep Shabbat and do not profane it, and hold fast to my covenant." That's the contract. "I will bring them," verse 7, "I will bring them to my holy mountain and make them joyful in the house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and sacrifices will be accepted on my altar, for my house will be called a house of prayer." Notice, for all peoples. Happy Thanksgiving. And hallelujah, and God bless America, in whom we give thanks. We give thanks to our God today. Have a great one.